right, today we have a Mars and Leo sextile to Jupiter and Gemini. But aside from that, we have a huge Lyran gateway or portal that I'm specifically working with today. And tomorrow is Pleiadian day, technically tonight, right? So today, a lot of Lyran frequencies streaming in. And then tonight, our moon aligns with the Pleiades going into, we'll say tonight and tomorrow, okay? But technically tomorrow is the height of that too. So today we're doing a huge Lyran gateway. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about how to work with these energies and why they're so important to us on the planet during this time. But most importantly, we're going to do Lyran oracle cards, okay? So we're going to do some Lyran cards and kind of talk about the energies. If you guys are just finding me, take a second to say hi. Go ahead and leave a comment, connect with the energies, let me know you're here, especially if you're trying to get cards and things like that, it'll help. Make sure you're also hitting the share button, which is what I'm doing, so just give me a second to share this out. Make sure you guys are also hitting that share button. So beautiful energies. I always love these energies. They hold very high frequencies and a lot of light, but they can help us a lot with what we're trying to do here, which is to heal our blueprint and ascend into the 5D. So we'll talk about that in a minute. I put a lot of really nice things on the video just talking about why the Lyrans are so important. They're actually our ancestors and where we come from. Like, we've forgotten that in our day here on Earth, but it's actually, they play a very important role currently, modern day, in our ascension that is happening and taking place. And they also play an important role in our human history and where we come from. They're one of our nearest galactic neighbors too. Okay, so make sure you guys are sharing this out. I'll let you guys do that so I can get started. Let's see. Okay, so make sure you guys have left a comment, shared this out if you're trying to get cards and things like that. We're going to talk all things Lyrans, but these are powerful frequencies. They're also being amplified because we still have a lot of energies flowing in from the solstice. We know that we continue to, I want to say, feel and see these effects like 3 weeks afterwards. We're still in it, okay? We've had a lot of solar activities. I've been tapping in a lot to a lot of these energies. I've just kind of, I always talk about on these videos, you guys know this, I talk a lot about the solar energies being very clearing, but they're actually helping us to dial, this isn't going to be popular in my video, to dial down some of the cosmic and galactic radiation that we're receiving from some of these ascension energies and galactic energies. So when we see a lot of these solar energies heightening and kicking off, I know a lot of people will say that, you know, they do this in certain cycles. Never before in our time. Let's get real. Like, a lot of people were leaving comments like you guys are noticing the energies are going up, they're getting heightened, they're amplifying what's going on with you, how you're feeling, everything in your life. And we're going through this process I love to call Ascension. And so a lot of times we're seeing a lot of the solar energies increase. They're actually helping to dial down some of the effects of some of the galactic energies because they're quite intense, and I mean in a physical way, on us living here on planet Earth. Now the Lyrans are also, they help to seed us. So a lot of times as you're connecting with different galactic races, or you're a star seed here, this is very important to the work that you came here and signed up here to do here on this time. Some people do it unconsciously and don't realize. Some people become a little bit more awake and conscious and aware of that. But your job is here to help to heal your own template and blueprint and to ascend into the 5D, which we do by also releasing the trauma and healing the trauma. Some of this trauma goes back into, obviously, this lifetime. We've been through a lot of that, but also into past lifetimes too. And so a lot of you guys are actually healing a lot of galactic trauma that goes a little bit farther back. And this has also played a role in, you know, humanity and our blueprint and our template. So these energies are really, really good for helping you to activate your galactic and angelic template, or to restore that template, or to heal it or upgrade it on many different levels. These are very, very positive energies. They hold a lot of high light and a lot of Lyran light too, specifically. And you guys are probably feeling it or resonating with it if you are a starseed, or feeling the energies in different ways. Okay, we're going to go into doing some Lyran cards. I brought, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but make sure you guys are checking out my website, sparksofdivinelighealing.com. I have so many beautiful things up there for the next couple of days. Those of you guys that work with me know I love to cycle through these energies and to tap into them and use them for the healing. So make sure you guys are checking out my website, sparksofdivinelighealing.com. I have a lot of really nice, beautiful things up there for the next couple of days. I know I have a lot of stuff for tomorrow's Pleiadian healing gateway too. So if it's in my shop, you can do it all of the time. I am an energy healer. I do a lot of healings, activations, and clearings with you guys and help you with your real life problems that are coming up, right? So if you're needing a shift, you're needing to clear something, needing to change something, or just looking for overall healing, I have so many really good things on my website. I also do psychic readings. I am a psychic medium as well as a healer. I teach classes, lots of classes like Reiki and Sikhem if you're needing them too. Okay, the Lyran Oracle cards. Make sure you guys have shared this out. If you're able to sign up and be a supporter or send PayPal donations or stars, that helps keep this page going so much, and it's very much needed too. So if you guys are sending stars, I'm going to try to give you a psychic shout out, but it's an awesome way you guys can give something back if you're getting something out of this page. Let's see. Thank you, Pam. Good morning. The spinning wheel. Frequency upgrade, new plan, adventure, and spiritual advancement. And this is like everything that I'm into, raising your frequency, going through a recalibration of your energy. We know that you're coming out of, when we go through a spiritual awakening, you're coming out of the 3D into the 4 and the 5, and it's an intense transformation on the energy level. You're having to change your energy. And so some of the things that I love to teach on this planet, they're a necessity to your ascension, right? Cleaning up your energy, raising your frequency, getting rid of lower cords and attachments and things that are keeping you stuck, and everything that we talk about on these videos is very, very important to your spiritual awakening and your ascension journey. And so you're kind of going through a recalibration, and so this isn't overnight work. I mean, a lot of you guys have hopefully been awake a while and doing this work, right? This is not always overnight work. Sometimes it might be. Some of these shifts might be very rapid and come out of nowhere, and you might go through some of the changes of your destiny or your path or whatever it is, but a lot of times this is like continuing to do that self work and that energy work, and this is going to put you so far ahead. It has the capacity to change your circumstances. When we talk karma, fate, and destiny, all of my favorite themes, it has the chance to completely change your destiny if you're willing to really do that work on yourself and that frequency work on yourself. Now, some people don't want to do the work, it's maybe right, but we're all living on planet Earth, and actually the entire planet, I remind you, is going through a frequency change herself and going up in frequency. And so that's what's requiring us to change our frequency and continue to do things to raise our vibrational frequency. So this is why it's so important that we're breaking out of negative patterns, lower habits, negative thoughts, and things like that, so we can continue to raise our vibrational frequency. And as we're raising up, we're actually raising up into the higher realms and dimensions. We can call it the angelic realms, right? We're actually raising up out of the lower matrix that has had a control system and hold on us for a long time. I was telling myself this morning, I know I shouldn't be talking on video at all, but I'm going to say it. It's really an archonic control system that had us stuck and was siphoning us for a long time. And as you awaken and you do this work, you're actually liberating yourself from so much, and you're actually shifting and raising up into the angelic realms and angelic frequencies as you're doing this work. And it changes a lot of the dynamics of obviously your energy and what's going on within you, but also your circumstances in your life. Continue to raise your vibrational frequency. You're kind of being guided as to what to be doing in many different ways. Like, these messages are coming through, whether it's stuff you're turning on and seeing that's talking about ascension and stuff, this kind of content, or sitting with yourself quietly and you're getting downloads, and we get these little nudges to change things in our actual lives. This is where the core work is being done, like on ourselves, in our lives. And if you're not listening to that little whisper of your soul, it's going to come through in loud ways, like a nagging, like you haven't listened to the message or being guided to change something, and it's going to get real loud until you do, right? And so you're getting these messages, and they come in many different forms, and you're being guided as to what to be working on, what to be, I call them shifting. So the shifts that you're being guided to make are so important to help you in cleaning up your energy and your frequency, and going higher within yourself, but within your life too. So this is all about raising your frequency and doing that frequency work. I wouldn't show up if I wasn't reminding you guys, energy healing is where it's at, whether you're facing something in your life and a lot's coming up, or you're not able to shift it and you want to change your actual circumstances, or you're just looking for healing. We've been through a lot. I was talking about fragmentation, soul loss, attachments, things that have, affected our energy, psychic cords, karmic connections, things that we've been through a lot, we'll just say. And so energy healing will help you in so many different areas, obviously with your energy, but also, with what's going on in your actual circumstances and shifting things. So we're being guided to make some subtle shifts in our life, and a lot of this is energy based. So we're learning a lot about energy, which is meant to help us in restoring our health and living more healthy and things like that too. So it's very positive, some of the things that we're being guided towards within our awakening. Okay, we're gonna do EHM Annette. I'll just say Annette. Numerology. Okay, finances, increase, sacred geometry, and spiritual science. You notice a lot of numbers, and I love this card. I'm going to show it to you because it's like the matrix. So we are living in a living matrix, okay? Now, when we go through a spiritual awakening, we learn to unplug from the 3D matrix, as we call it, and we learn how to create our own holographic reality, or work much more in our own hologram. This is why you might feel that some of you guys are distancing from the drama of the collective, I hope, or these 3D timelines, because there's a lot of lower timelines probably still going out. I'm sure there's lower and higher all over the planet, right? So we have a lot of drama in the 3D. You're learning to hopefully detach and pull back, and you're not getting so upset about it or about what other people are going through or choosing to experience, because we realize this is a planet of free will and people can have whatever they're choosing to experience, and this is all about empowering them to do that, right? But I'm over here like, okay, so some of you guys are pulling back from, as I call it, the matrix. And my point is that numbers make the world go round, and that's why you see so many phone numbers. Get at me, call me at my phone number. Or you see angel numbers and license plate numbers and building numbers, and we see a lot of numbers in the physical reality. And I think that this is important, because when you begin to get in divine alignment, you begin to really see the signs around you. And some of these signs may come through angel numbers and reoccurring numbers. And this is actually, your angels are always by your side. It's up to you as to how much you're working with them and how much you're asking for their help. If you're not asking for any help, they will not interfere. They're much like the galactics. And even that with my job, I'm learning I have to let people walk their path, but I can help in many ways. And so we do have angels and galactics and, people here to help us as well too in the physical with our process, but it's up to us to walk our path and get certain lessons and to move through certain lessons. But we definitely have the assistance, and I'm talking the energetic assistance of your angels and even galactic team. They're here to help. If you're asking for help, they're going to step in. They're going to help you. Why would you not want to help, right? Facing financial difficulty, you don't know what to do. You have a situation coming up. You have some type of negative stuff going on. Why would you not ask for help? But many people just simply don't know how, right? And so when we learn that when we ask for help, we get so much help. One of the best things I ever did in my life when I was waking up was begin to work with the galactics, actually, right? Beginning to work with my angels and my spirit guides and the galactics. And so much has transformed in my life from being open to that divine assistance, which is always available to us, but sometimes people just don't pick up the phone, right? And we can do that as simply as prayer, by the way, and connecting. But oftentimes it isn't just one-sided. Your prayers are being answered. You're being divinely guided and divinely supported. And one way that we can get back, not just reassurance, but signs of that alignment, that divine alignment, are these angel numbers. They are your angels communicating with you, because oftentimes we're a little bit more blocked up psychically than we like to believe, right? And so sometimes when we unblock ourselves psychically, we're getting direct downloads. We're getting information like coming straight to us. Now, when we are disconnected and not fully activated psychically, sometimes our angels have a hard time getting through to us. This could be ego blocks in programming, or blocks in our system like trauma and things that disconnect us, because they're always sending us direct downloads of information. But sometimes maybe some of you guys are really psychic and you're like downloads all day and processing that. Sometimes downloads, what's that? Like, right? So these angel numbers are a way that the angels are actually sending you messages in real time right then that you need to navigate your experience and your path. And, I think it's very important, instead of just like, yeah, I'm seeing 11:11 on the clock all day, and just, okay, maybe go into Google. I love Google. and Googling that angel number and what it means for you during this time, you can really begin to decode these messages on a deeper level and get so much out of them. You'll probably get a nice little paragraph on Google if you go Google 1111 or 333 or whatever number code you're getting, and you start to dive into it. Now, maybe you're getting reoccurring number codes. A lot of times people draw the same messages or the same number codes to you, but regardless, and this is a topic I go into in my angel number book, they are right there with you, and they're giving you very, very important messages for your path. And you're getting a little divine breadcrumb. It's a little message from your spirit team, and some people just ignore it, like, oh yeah, I've been having a lot of stress coming up and I've been seeing this number all day and whatever, and tune it out. We call that tuning it out. And some people, yeah, I spend an hour on Google researching 1111 and what that means, and you're like, oh, okay, this really does pertain to my situation and what to do. By the way, they're giving you guidance, and so we have so much divine guidance. And oftentimes one of the easiest ways that they can get our attention is reoccurring numbers, 3 numbers in a row, 4 numbers in a row. You might see this on your clock, your microwave, license plates. And I love to study synchronicity and things like this too, because if you're sitting there looking at your clock all day, you probably won't see anything, I guarantee you. But it's like you weren't paying attention to your phone, and suddenly something has you look at your phone and you see that 333 real loud. You know, you could sit there staring all day and you probably will miss 333 because you're busy at that time. And it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. You're not going to find that needle, guarantee, but when the universe wants you to find it, look. And so it's a little like that too. When you're looking for the synchronicity, it's not happening because it's something they're sending to you, by the way. And it's a very powerful message. So pay attention to the number codes that you're getting. They mean so much more. I did write the Twin Flame Angel number book in my series of books I wrote, so I did decode it for Twin Flames, but it's such a topic, and I did talk about that a lot, of like what this means. So if you're on that twin flame journey, nice little book pinned on my video. I have all of my books pinned on my video. I'm about to release my latest book, by the way, to this series, and I always feel it really builds on the work that I've been trying to kind of put out there too. They're very personal. They're about spiritual awakening, and sometimes spiritual awakening is not like this neat process. It tends to get very messy and like unraveling and releasing and letting go and things like that too. So I have that book up there on my video if you guys are looking for some awakening content or books on that. Pay attention to the angel numbers. They're trying to get your attention about something. Trisha, color spectrums, self-expression, movement, and letting out of emotions. And this is my favorite part, because most of our toxicity culturally, globally, it doesn't matter what country you're living in, is the repression of emotions. I'm not going to blame anyone, but oftentimes it starts out in childhood, because kids can be really messy. I like to think, I hope so anyway, right? Not getting their way, 5-year-old meltdown, tantrum, right? And things like this. So this is where we're taught how to deal with our emotions in a very unhealthy way, and just stop crying, please. Go somewhere else. Can you just shut this down? And so we learn how to shut down our emotional system, and oftentimes we stuff in a lot of negative, toxic emotions. You know, we talk all the time about being triggered. You have a situation triggering you, not you specifically, but we're going to make something up. I always talk about, you know, maybe a toxic job or a partner or whatever. And so oftentimes it can evoke negative emotions. We're not all love and light. In fact, a lot of our mastery is going to be found in healing the emotional, in emotional healing, and learning how to better deal with our emotions in a healthy way. Toxic, stuffing them inside, pretending they don't exist. But eventually toxic emotions make us sick. Actually, most illness comes from some type of blockage and negative emotions or negative energies that have been suppressed and shoved inside that become toxic to the body. This creates inflammation and other issues that can spin out of this, but also emotional imbalance and things like that too. When I'm helping people, I do a lot of relationship healing. When I'm helping people to heal their relationships, oftentimes it does require you to heal things, certain things emotionally, so that you're better regulated and can deal with your triggers in a healthier way, right? So this is all about emotional regulation, healthy emotions, and emotional balance. Now, I love the chakras. We're going to go there too. Oftentimes when we are stuffing our emotions inside, your boss was really triggering you and you couldn't say anything, guaranteed. You're like stuffed inside. Your partner, you're stuffing all of this stuff inside. And where do you think you're stuffing it? Your solar plexus. Our solar plexus is going through a huge clearing and cleansing because of all these energies coming in. They're hitting our solar plexus as they're filtering through our body. And so you can look at that almost, I don't want to call it a filter, but it's a filter. picking up a lot of energies from someone else. Once again, you're at your job and it's not that great today, and you're picking up some toxic negative vibes from someone over there, or you're out in the matrix in a low vibe place and you're feeling it kind of, picking it up. You're feeling someone else's emotional state, they're in a bad mood, and it's affecting you all through the solar plexus. And so our solar plexus is actually where we filter in outside energies, other people's energies, but it's also where we store our childhood trauma and toxic emotions that we've suppressed within ourselves. And so oftentimes we're needing to kind of unblock our solar plexus. When we go ahead and heal our solar plexus, we're going to open up and activate our empath gifts and empath superpowers, right? Being able to read people's energy better, being able to tell and discern our own energy from other people's, being able to read energy better, and give many gifts come out of healing the solar plexus. When people have a lot of unhealed inner child trauma, it tends to come out in their relationships, as some of our chakras have a lot to do with how we connect within our relationships too. And so it's very important that we're healing ourselves to have a healthier foundation for how we connect with other people too. A lot of emotions are going to continue to come up within the ascension because you've stored a lot of stuff within the body from this lifetime and many lifetimes, and even purging out our ancestral blueprints, our past trauma, past relationships. All of this stuff must come up and be healed, not overnight. It's going to come in layers and waves, I say. So sometimes when you're feeling, you have these really great highs with ascension and these really great lows. In fact, some of you guys might even be a little geomagnetic sensitive, and this might be affecting you, some of the collective energies or the collective things going on in the collective fields. But oftentimes you might have some highs and lows, right, in life. Like, this is life, we're learning how to navigate Earth. And when you hit these low spots, sometimes people go through depression, a lot of emotional upheavals, crying, whatever it is. This is actually old trauma coming to the surface, or signs that you have some type of trauma trapped or stored in the body that needs to be released, especially, feeling a lot of emotionally ungrounded or out of balance, or just a lot of strong emotions can be kind of normal as you're purging out a lot of different things that need to be healed too. Healing your solar plexus will help, and healing and releasing any old trauma, especially inner child trauma for you, so you're more balanced. Let's do Julie Weeb, good morning. Stargate initiation. Portals, power spot, and get outdoors. And I love this card because many of you guys are actually becoming that psychic porthole, or if you guys are always picking up on a lot of energies, and I believe that about myself, my home, my energy, and things like that too. So, very much all about healing yourself so you can become that high frequency porthole or gateway. Welcome to being a starseed kind of stuff. This is all about, either becoming that power spot or connecting with power spots. That is that's my thing. That is my thing. Like, when I'm thinking about, like, a lot of people holiday a lot, and I'm not gonna get it. I'm like looking at ancient civilizations and power spots. I'm looking at like Machu Picchu, Egypt, Stonehenge, right? Mount Shasta, Arizona. I'm looking at these power places out in nature that are very, very important for, things like our frequency and the upgrades and the, cold keys that they hold and things like that. And I'm very drawn to them, and things like that too. So sometimes we can find these power spots, and they might be, I always talk about around the 7 earth chakras and places like that, or ancient civilizations, that hold a very high frequency or a lot of cosmic spiritual knowledge or galactic connection. But sometimes you can just get out in your yard, and I'm noticing you're needing it bad. We just got blasted. We're still getting blasted with all of this solstice energy. We have all this galactic energy. And so sometimes we're fine. We're okay. We're cool. We're doing our 3D matrix stuff. But our body is actually feeling and absorbing a lot of this energy. And if you are a starseed, if you are an empath, if you are an energy sensitive, if you are, I can go on and on with this list, if you are a light worker, if you are someone that is awake at all in the tiniest bit during this time, you are here to anchor this energy into the physical through yourself, okay? You're not here to do anything for anyone else, despite what people may tell you. It's all about you, your energy, and your frequency, and the transformation that you're going through. And one of the best things that you need during this time is nature. You're going to probably notice. In fact, you might just feel a gravitational pull to it instead of, like, the Matrix. Like, I feel like when you're young, when you're asleep, when we were asleep, you're like, ooh, the Matrix and all of the shiny things, and you can't get enough of it. And as you go through a spiritual awakening, sometimes your lens tends to see things more as they are. And generally, you might kind of be guided to like get back to the basics, simplify your life, and just more of a nature-based life, right? Like instead of like, ooh, I'm gonna go, you know, where there's a billion people crammed into a little box and love that. Maybe I want to get away from everyone and go out in nature and find the solitude and stillness, or just for the recharge, for the grounding, for the powerful healing benefits. So you don't have to fly across the planet to go find some nature, I hope. You know, you can hopefully find it in your backyard. Or whatever, very close. So make sure that you're grounding and connecting with nature. It's what you came here to do, to anchor these light codes into the earth grid during this time too, but it also helps you with plugging into the energy grid, and makes you feel a lot better doing a little bit of grid work and things like that. Let's do Jamie McDonald. Thank you. The greater plan, acceptance, letting go, and divine perfection. Okay, so life is messy. like I know we're always like, okay, you'll see it on TV, like the perfect matrix, you know, they're all wearing the same outfit or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, your life should look like this, and you're being kind of sold on this idea about the matrix. But in reality, I was just saying, Ascension can get very messy. It is an unraveling and a releasing and letting go of who you are not. You're letting go of energies that are no longer aligned on a continual basis. So, you know, whether this is letting go of things that are not good for you, not healthy for you, toxic, not serving you, there's a lot of clearing. So when I talk about letting go, it's the clearing, it's the releasing, and it will take you back to yourself and back to a higher frequency as you're doing that work too. So it's literally cleaning up the loose ends, like cutting cords. I did another video earlier and I'm like, major cutting cords energy with Cancer season, but only if it's not good for you, not healthy for you. You're having to discern. This could be on a psychic level, this could be on an energy level, or just continuing to release things. You know, some of that work, it isn't like getting rid of everyone. I love to do that too. Getting rid of everyone around you all of the time. Sometimes it's actually a gentle whispering of, you know, patterns that need to go, things holding you back, thoughts that you're going into repeatedly, your thinking patterns, your own patterns, you know, things like that too. It's the inner work. We talk a lot about the outer and the external, but the external is always a reflection of the inner work that you have done or that you may need to do still. So this is letting go. And so you might feel that. I feel that the past year, and I feel, because I was kind of tapping into this, you know, it's a lot of stripping away so you can bring the right stuff in, though. A lot of times people miss the mark on that. Like, okay, we're just continually clearing energy. We are, but it's so that you can better align with what you're bringing in to that space. Once you've made the room, or you've cleared things, or you've let go of things, you're noticing you're elevating through doing this work too. So this is like an energy cleansing and clearing, but remember that as you're doing that work, you're gonna magnetically align with what you're bringing into this space if you feel you've been doing a lot of clearing work. Now I figure we're gonna continue to do a lot of clearing work the rest of this year even, which isn't always fun. Like the past year and even, you know, going into this year, we've been doing a lot of just keeping our energy clear, continuing to clear things, because that's what's required of Ascension. We're really purging out and letting go of attachments. This could be, a lot of people have attachments rooted in, I'm not saying you, but addiction, trauma, old timelines, the old matrix. And we see that big time, that we're having to let go of the 3D and whatever's keeping us stuck there too. So just continuing to keep your energy clear. And, you know, sometimes you guys are really good at that, I hope. And it will really, really help you. Okay, I see this person. I'm not going to be able to say your name. It's in another language, right? All right, whoever left the stars, another language, peaceful reunion. Reunions bring healing, and I love this because I talk a lot about soul-based reunion. Obviously, I do a lot of the relationship and twin flame work, so this could be a twin flame message, but it doesn't have to be. Some of you guys are literally, when you come to Earth, you did reunite with certain souls that you chose to play the role of your friends and family and partners and people that you would learn with, very carefully selected through your spiritual and soul contracts. Some of these relationships were amazing. Some of you they were here to trigger certain things so that you could grow and learn more about yourself and to heal and release, whether this is karma or trauma that you've been holding on to energetically. And so when we come to Earth, it is a reunion. You're born and it's happy, and you're reuniting with that family group, by the way, after a really long time. And then sometimes we can connect again with souls, okay? I'm not saying to ever go back to the ex, don't do that. But I'm saying some people can reappear in your life and you might connect again. I've had this happen recently with some of my family that hadn't been around for a long time, and I was telling myself, this is a reunion of souls, right? And you come together and you can probably easily pick up where you left off or whatever it is too. And so this is coming back together. This could be also with your soul group, which is something I love out of the awakening, that oftentimes when you do that higher level of work, you begin to vibrate on that 5D frequency with the other awakened 5D souls. So you're right? You find the other star seeds, and you really begin to find your soul group or your soul tribe. So this could be, yes, it could be a message about a love or a lover coming back in, because I love that with reunion. Sometimes that's the stage after separation, but we can separate from many different souls. It just kind of depends. Some of you guys have had to do that from your loved ones, and it's played an important role and even shaped your journey. This is healing any type of separation wounds within yourself so that you can have happy reunion, and you'll know with who. Let's see. I see Linda. The new time, positive self-talk, advancement, opportunity, and leadership. And so literally I can't turn it off. A voice in your head. You have a voice in your head. I like to think the more you meditate, it might chill it out. Right? Okay. The more ungrounded and unbalanced, the more it gets crazy and out of control. So this is the ego, and we got to keep our ego in check. It's literally just you and that voice in your head. You got to keep it kind of in check. So I know the ego gets out of control. It wants these ego demands. It's I don't want to say it. It's got demands. It wants this. It wants to buy this. It wants this. It wants that. It's not happy unless it has this, and then it gets this, and it's still not happy. And it's you got to keep your ego in check. I like to not give it what it wants on purpose. Right? If it wants something, shiny new car, house, relationship, very ego demands, and something new, whatever, I'm you're not getting that. It's keeping a 5-year-old in check. But this is a very important component of who you are and your personality, and it has a lot to do. So if you haven't done the self-work, your ego may drive yourself crazy. When you begin to listen to the ego, I always joke around, it probably will lead you off a cliff. Right? So you're needing to be aware that you have this voice in your head, and it isn't always your own. When you get into enlightenment, you realize you're actually in control of that voice in your head, and you need to get in control of that voice in your head. So this is where the self-work comes in. And so we're becoming more aware of that ego voice in our head. I don't think we noticed it at all when we were asleep. Someone could tell you about it, and you'd be like, oh yeah, okay, and switch it off, right, and just not pay attention. But we're becoming more aware of the voice in our head and how important it is. So if you are programmed up like all of us and you haven't done the self-work, you might be very self-critical or negative to yourself, probably not trying to, but some little hiccup in the road comes up and you're like, we're gonna die. It's gonna go terrible, end of the world. And it's okay. Or we can learn how to be more, this is my thing, self-positive, and then, same hiccup in the road comes up. Okay, it's going to be okay, girlfriend. We're going to get through this. We're going to move through this fast. You'll be okay. And this is where we learn how to self-reassure ourselves. And I was telling someone that I've done this work for a very long time, and I've learned a lot from doing this work, and I've learned certain things about working with so many people and healing certain people. And I was telling someone this morning that one thing I see as a common theme, I see a lot of common patterns between people, is that a lot of people have not learned how to regulate their emotions, and I'm talking adults, or to self-soothe or talk themselves through things. They would like someone else to do that, whether they're a partner or a friend or healer or whatever it is. And so we have to learn how to do that for ourselves. Otherwise, we're going to care too much about outside opinions, and you're not going to be able to get through this if you do, and looking to other people to do that, because it's energy soothing and regulation. And so we have to learn how to do that with ourselves, because you're sitting with that voice in your head infinitely, by the way. And if that voice in your head is negative and destructive, it'll get in your head, as I say, literally. And so it's very important that we're also healing. We can call it the third eye, the mind, and becoming more positive within ourselves. And this is not overnight work. If you've been wired up very negative, as society has left us all at that point, then it can be very hard. But you know what? You begin to flip those thoughts, because your thoughts are much more than just that voice in your head. They're actually manifesting your entire life. So if you're sitting there thinking tomorrow is a doomsday, that's happening tomorrow to you, thanks to yourself. And so when we learn to flip those thoughts, tomorrow will be great. I'm going to show up the best I can. Okay? Just examples. Guess what? You've actually shifted your timeline and changed what will happen tomorrow simply by changing your thoughts, or changing your thoughts about a situation. But this is deep work that we must do, and it's not going to happen overnight. You're noticing you're doing the self-work for a while. So it's very, very important that you're getting your ego in check. Sometimes this looks like flipping negative thoughts and staying more positive, and this is your programming. As they say, it takes 21 days to change a habit, probably maybe even more, it depends, or less, it depends, right? So if you've been for your entire lifetime telling yourself certain beliefs, I believe this to be true about everyone, it's actually playing out in your life. And this is also the basis for what we attract. So if you're always thinking, you know, I'm going to attract something negative, you've probably been in that negative pattern, creating it unaware and experiencing it. And so sometimes when we change a negative belief to a positive one, it's actually changing the life that we're living and what we will attract into our experience, and how we feel within ourselves, which is so, so important too. So sometimes it's just like sitting there and actually paying attention to your thoughts is a big part of spiritual awakening, because the negative thoughts are actually blocks and they manifest into our reality. So the more you can weed your garden, your mind, pluck out those weeds and, you know, start to plant positive thoughts. I talk about focusing on your goals, your manifestations, of what you actually want. These things come into focus much more too. So it's very important that ego work and recognizing the ego, because most people don't. Your ego loves to point the finger, blame. It doesn't want to do the work. It's lazy. It's going to say, my boss is the problem, not me. Every partner I've ever had is the problem. This person over here. So I've also learned that a lot of enlightenment is taking a look at ourselves, accountability, and changing ourselves and our own patterns. No more blaming anyone else. It's nothing to do with them. Right? But your ego will say, this girl doesn't know what she's talking about. Turn this video off. It's my partner. It's them. And it loves to play the victim, and it loves to hide within ourselves, right? And enlightenment is for those people that can face their own ego, which is the shadow work, right? And to be like, okay, I've been tearing myself down. I've been blocking my own manifestation. I manifested that partner I've been pointing my finger at and everyone else in my reality, and it always comes back to myself in doing the inner work. And if I want to change any circumstances in my life or how I'm living my life, I have to change myself, going within and doing that deep work. This is not overnight, right? The ego is not your enemy. It's actually you, right? A part of you, but you're higher than that. Your higher self is actually in charge of the ego. So as we're flipping those thoughts, you're going to notice your entire reality begin to change in a very positive way, as you're purging out and healing negative-based beliefs, views, or ways that you're seeing things. Let's do Linda Hicks. Immaculate Conception. This is a time of positive transformation. So I always think of the butterfly. It's like my huge thing. I actually have a tattoo on me, like spirit, the blue one too, like the spirit message at a young age. And I might not have even realized the significance when I made that move. So I always, and this is what's coming to mind, the blue butterfly, the transformation. So we have the caterpillar. I wish I had a picture of the slideshow. The little caterpillar is your 3D self. It literally goes into the cocoon thinking it's going to die. It burrows itself into a gooey mess of itself and literally believes it's game over, it's going to die probably. And then it comes out after a cocoon phase, it comes out as a new organism, as the butterfly. Now, I get into this as a DNA talk to show you that there are organisms here on Earth that hold higher DNA code. So as it is, the caterpillar, your 3D self, it has one completely different set of DNA. If you were to take that same little organism and you were going to go ahead and do some DNA testing or whatever on it, the butterfly is a completely different organism, and it has a completely different blueprint, template, and DNA. It has evolved. It's the same organism, and this is what we're going through here on planet Earth. All of this light and this higher frequency is giving us the chance to activate our DNA, which is required to really ascend into this 5D version of ourselves. So we have the 3D version of ourselves, which is the ego self, which is literally, because of the veils, you can't see what's coming when you're going through the experience. So you're just like, okay, this is me, this lower version of myself, and you believe it. You begin to go through a spiritual awakening, and as you're guided through the work, you begin to upgrade yourself and your energy. And so that is the upgrade, going from 3D version of self to 5D version of ourself, which is a much different organism, we could even say. This is why a lot of times, like if you were to revisit your past, people wouldn't even recognize you when you've made your ascension and done this work, which is to become this 5D version of yourself too. So you're going through a big change and a big transformation. Now you can't skip the gooey mess part. That's where hopefully you guys will find me if you need me, right? It's like all of the, I call it goo too, all of this stuff is going to come up, all the negativity and energies that need to be dealt with. But this is a card about remembering the DNA activation is very, very important too, to really embodying that and bringing that down into the physical too. I said this morning because getting these kind of messages today, great energies. Obviously, when you're having a spiritual awakening, you're working on your ascension in these higher energies to be doing some type of DNA activation work. I do have a category in my site for the DNA levels up, and I do them in order, literally. And there are a series of DNA activations. This will help you so much with your ascension. Now, we're in a culture where I don't need anyone. I'm good. I got it. like people drowning and someone's trying to throw you the lifeboat. I'm good, right? Okay, I know we live in that type of culture, but the reason why you actually do need ascension healing is because we are fragmented and don't hold the complete codes within ourselves. And so when we do things like energy healing session, this will help to send or transfer the complete set of codes that you need to integrate this ascension. So it's a little bit like when we're talking about that, let's say, number message, that you're not fully complete because you don't carry all of those codes or they haven't been fully activated. So when we bring in the energy healing, this helps us to obviously embody and integrate the ascension to get the full complete of codes that we need to upgrade our system fully. So this is where you're going to see a lot of hopefully energy healing coming in to replace old modalities, which are probably, I'm all for these modalities, but some of them, they might not be complete in themselves, or they'd be working a little bit more effective too. So I really am a big believer in bringing in obviously the healing and things like that too. So this is like DNA activation message. David Curtin, cellular upgrade. Listen, step back, and learn from your surroundings. And I love this because we actually learn from the people around us a lot. We may not see that, but they change us, they shape us. This is why you have certain people that come in certain things. Now, I love this message because we're going through a change from the inside out on a cellular level. All of this photonic light and light waves and, into the sciencey stuff is hitting, we'll call it energy. These frequencies or these energies are hitting your body, and it's literally transforming everything about, we talked about DNA, and on a cellular level, it's bringing a huge healing on a cellular level and a huge renewal. Sometimes this healing, and you guys can watch me, unfortunately, unfortunately, you guys get to see what's going on with me. I have to show up a certain amount and do these videos, jokes aside, but you guys can see that with my own healing, because I'm in it with you guys, right, and doing the work. Trust me, I do the work and do it for many. So you can see that it's not always an overnight process when we're talking about restoration, regeneration, and healing and activation and things like that as we're going through some of these energies. So you're going through a healing. It's not always an overnight process, but there are big changes happening within you. And then this is to change. I talk about going from the carbon body. So I don't remember. I wish I paid attention when I was in all that school, but I was probably just, memorizing what I had to get out of there. But I do recall in a lot of the college that I went through, and I went to a lot of sciencey school, in case you can't tell, that they would talk about all life was from carbon, and this is why they couldn't find aliens. They were looking for carbon in space, and sorry, we're not finding any life. But that isn't reality, and actually carbon is the 3D self, right? And so we've been learned, okay, well, this is what the 3D has in common with itself. Now, as we're going through this leap in evolution, and there's been many on this planet that have done this work before, this ascension, we crystallize. And I feel this is why I'm personally guided to work with crystals more and more, going through my ascension process to help in many different ways, right? And so this is why I feel it can be really, really beneficial for us to connect with crystals, because we're talking about crystallizing ourselves and going from that carbon to this 5D version, which is very crystalline and different and things like that on the internal level too. And if anyone needs it, I have a really nice crystal Reiki class on my site with really great book, by the way. That's why I'm recommending it. I have the good books to my classes, but that's a really nice one if you are trying to get into working with crystals and things like that too. I'm noticing I'm needing them more or leaning on them more just for healing myself, we'll say, and putting myself back together and things like that too. So always recommending if you're on that ascension path of working with any type of quartz crystals. Lemurian quartz specifically is really, really beneficial. Quartz, they can really, really help you, because we're actually, I don't want to say we're turning into a quartz, so you're trying to, but that is the closest frequency when it comes to a crystal to what we're trying to align with ourselves. So any type of quartz is really, really beneficial, okay? We're going to do Donna Gray, Middle Earth Dragons. Mind-opening, grounding, and shamanic rituals. So I love this because I could go way into, I'm not going to try, but oftentimes you guys hold other types of DNA within you, and dragons, I look at them as angelic. You'll think they're elemental, but they're actually, they hold an angelic frequency, and they are keepers of the earth grids and ley lines. And so this is why, if you notice, we could say historically, that there's a lot more dragon myths around certain places of the planet, and they're very, very connected to the earth. And I think we think they went away and went extinct, but they're still here. Like, right? And they exist on a higher frequency, we could say then, right? And things like that right here in the real time. Now I'm bringing this up because you might have some of that in your DNA. That's another topic I'd love to get into, right? You have a lot of things in your DNA. When they told you that 98% was garbage, by the way, they just didn't know what it was. Okay, and that's at their level, we'll just say, and stuff like that. So you hold a lot of things in your DNA, that some of it active, some of it inactive, but you may have that connection, and this is very, very powerful too. And so this might be also connected with that too. And I know I have that in my DNA. I've gone way deep into the blood types and the family lines and things like that, and where they come from, and on both sides. So I do know I actually have that on one of the parent sides and things like that too. So you might actually have that within your DNA. So then this might be, you might hold some of that within you. Ancient wisdom, old wisdom, healing gifts. If you're interested, I have a couple. I know I have working with the fairies class, but I have working with the dragons class. I have a dragon crystal class. Amazing to tap more into that. If you feel a pull, sometimes you'll feel a resonance with different beings, and we'll go into this. It could be fairies, it could be mermaids, it could be dragons, and whether it's the mythological and you're really drawn to this stuff, usually it's because you have a strong connection, or they might be calling you during this time or playing a part in your awakening too. So you may have some of this in your DNA. Maybe you're aware of that. Like some countries are very aware of that. It depends where you live from and things like that too. So this might be very important too, to connect with those kind of gifts and abilities. Okay, I'm going in that now. I'm here if you guys need me. I have a lot of really nice healings and activations up for today, so it's a good time if you want to connect with me. You can do that anyway every day, but I know I have a lot of stuff up for today. I've pinned it on the video if you need it. Great day to be doing activation work and kind of tapping into these higher energies. Have a beautiful day.